everybody, and welcome back to Misadventurous, the show where we make giant retards cry and have shotgun weddings with gator people. I am your host, Dungeon Master Nolan Brad Smith, the Captain Violence, etc., etc. Joined, of course, by the fabulous Mark Smee.
Mark Smee, the guy who just can't help but open his mouth, it seems. I mean, I think I'm learning my lesson. I'm totally learning my lesson. The next situation will not go as bad as whatever this one is gonna go bad.
I mean, this situation isn't currently over, so I guess we'll find out whether or not you survive this, because clearly it's deadly to be married to a gator. And of course, by the ever so stoic maybe.
Yo.
Succinct. I like it. Last time on Misadventurous, our heroes won their battle against the gator cousins Enos and Jeb. Lucien almost got eaten by mysterious creatures in the clean water of the marshes. They wound their way into the center of the swamp, where they discovered a barge house, met a cook, and got knocked out by his cooking, or at least Lucien did, because he was the only one dumb enough to just eat what he was handed. Bark decided between choosing be food or be kin. He chose kin. So now they're apparently going to have a wedding with a member of the Tub clan.
Now you see, Bark, this is why we don't trust people. It's just why. Look, the first rule of adventuring is that you can only trust your adventuring party, and even then you can't trust them. The second, nobody opens their mouth, period. End of the statement. It's like, it just doesn't happen. You just shut the fuck up and keep going, because we're trying to find treasure and stuff, not shotgun wedding with a freaking alligator.
Oh, Lucien, I don't want to marry a crocodile. I just thought about it. It probably will be horrible. Right.
As you guys have been discussing, a cavalcade of gator people have been crawling up on top of the barge house and coming in. Big ones, small ones, baby ones, women ones, men ones.
Ones who climb on rocks.
ones who ride on bikes. Ones who ride on slikes. All sorts of people start crowding in here. It is a whole big old hooping, hollering clan of these creatures. And of course, ear the back, still nursing his swollen mouth, is one of the giant creatures from before, who you notice is still smaller than Paw Tub, and his cousin Jeb, who appears to be nursing his shattered nose ring and trying to get it to stay in his now broken nose. But they see you, see the celebration. They don't say anything, but they slink closer to the back of the house. While you two have been talking, you notice that a bunch of them have crowded around you. A rather fat female crocodilian creature is sitting next to you, Mark. It's like, oh, you gonna make Illa Babe all so happy.
Oh, good. Which one is that, please?
She ain't here yet. She getting freshened up. She got the news. Oh, she almost fell out.
Great.
You just listen to Mama Maymoon now, child. You're gonna be a good member of this family. Oh, yes. Not gonna end up dead like the last 20.
The last 20? All right, just what happened to the last one?
Oh, well, one of them, let's see. One of them ran off. One of them tried to elope with Millie Mae Doll, which is Millie Mae Ball's twin sister. Which, you know, we can't be having none of that. We ain't that kind of family around here.
It's a scam.
Oh, yes, it's terrible. And Mitchell, while Mark is caught talking to the large, heavily jewelried crocodilian woman, very old man crocodile has sat next to you. He doesn't speak much. He's just sort of gumming as he has been handed a bowl of mush from Cookie. But the way he chews, my God, the way he chews.
Let's get a good look at the area around us here. What's going down?
Let me take my mind off this horror next to me. You look around at the area, you see a bustling bunch of family members all gathered around. Children playing amongst the thick, fat-rolled ankles of their relatives. Relatives, of course, exchanging pleasantries and ignoring the relatives that they hate. One of them has a dog. It's an entirely normal dog.
I mean, it's a dog.
And then you see a pig walk up next to it and sit and pant like a dog. Hey, everybody, sit down. We're gonna have us a song. And they start cheering. Yeah. Everybody's within moments, everyone is seated.
I'm looking for the exits.
You look for an exit. The current exits you see are a pair of windows next to the main door. There is a chimney almost big enough for a person to get through, so if you squeezed, you might be able to get through it pretty easily. And you see the band getting set up, by the way, as you're considering. There's a window right behind you, but it appears to be framed with a bear trap, so maybe going out that window is not a smart decision. All right, everybody, who's ready to get some sweet, beautiful music? And the crowd of gator people start cheering.
I want to do an insight check for what is probably the most important item on these walls.
Okay, you can roll that insight check. Oh, but first, a band of crocodile people has appeared in the center of the house. Many, many years ago when I was 23, I met a lovely widow who was pretty as can be. That widow had a grown-up daughter who had hair of red. My father fell in love with her and soon they two were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my very life. Cause my daughter was my mother since she was my father's wife. Which makes my wife my grandma, strangest thing you ever saw. Cause as the husband of my grandmother, I am my own grandpa. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. I'm my own grandpa. It's not funny, I know, but it really is so. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. And now the whole troupe is clapping and singing along with this ridiculous music.
And I'm like trying to draw a flowchart. Wait a minute. If he's drawing, it's like a question of Minecraft.
You've got a flowchart on the table, but to roll your insight.
That'll be a 21.
You got a 21. Trying to think over this den is a little difficult, but by looking around, you can tell that none of these things do seem particularly valuable. Everything on the wall is either a body part or some kind of miscellaneous trophy, and while you're certain that everything has a story, nothing in this house, or at least this particular room, appears to have any inherent value to you.
There you go.
Clap, 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 clap. Yeah, what do? And they're all still cheering and hooping and hollering until one of them ends up like, who's hungry? And of course they all cheer in unison. Yeah! Cookie wheels out that big old pot that he had cooked up earlier and pours it out because it was a trap. And he's clearly not going to feed his own family trap food.
That'd be useful, yeah.
He then pulls out something from the oven. A humongous bird that he has been cooking. It is like the size of a medium-sized creature. Sets it in the middle of the floor. He then dumps out a bucket full of shrimp on top of it. And then dumps out a second bucket full of fried frog legs on top of that. Now there's this pile of steaming meat in the center of the room. All the gator creatures stare at it with hungry eyes as they begin to drool. Cookie holds up his spoon like a guy trying to baton the beginning of an Olympic race. Dig in, y'all! And they all dive for the meat. Except for Paul, who is sitting in his rocking chair in the very back of the room watching you guys. Man, that's a big rocking chair.
I believe it. Is there an outhouse somewhere?
The old man, which didn't get up to eat, looks at you, points to the back of the house.
I need to go use that real quickly.
You get up, Lucien, and head for the outhouse. The back door is right next to Paul, but he doesn't make a move to stop you.
I mean, I just need to go use the bathroom, jeez. Head to the outhouse.
You open the door, which immediately leads to a tiny rope bridge, which goes to a smaller barge further away from the house, where there is a single outhouse.
Heading to the outhouse.
You walk to the outhouse. As you're walking, you see a weird bunch of lights going off in the swamp that's slowly approaching the house.
I'm not one for the seeing thing, but I'll roll perception to get a better idea what that is.
Meanwhile, back in the house, Bark, what are you doing now that you've decided to try and decipher this flowchart of relatives?
I don't know, am I still talking to the fat lady or not?
Oh, the fat lady is now busy stuffing her fat face.
Alright, cool. I guess I should pick up some food and try to like blend in and not look too conspicuous.
Oh, well, you move towards the pile of riding gators, and you see that some of the food has, missed their jaws, and there's some fresh shrimp and bird meat near your foot.
Alright, cool. I'll pick up some shrimp and bird meat then and just sort of like carry that back to the table, I guess.
So you casually go back to the table with your meat and begin eating. Do you eat?
Yeah.
How do you eat?
Enthusiastically.
You put the food into your mouth. Roll endurance.
But endurance of 1. Alright, 16 total.
You almost choke on it because the spices in this food are so strong it burns your mouth and makes your tongue want to kill itself. But with your inherent toughness, you muscle it down and realize this could never be ingested by a normal humanoid. This stuff must be seasoned with swamp mud and evil magic. But you can get it down. So you eat it as enthusiastically as you can, tearing up somewhat in the process. The old man next to you goes, good, isn't it?
Yes.
He goes, as he continues to eat his mush. With that horrible, that horrible chewing.
Yeah, what did that sound like again? Do it some more.
Oh, no, please, don't make me do that. I don't want to do it to my own ears. Are you gonna do anything like Lucien did, like examine the building, try to figure anything out?
What I'd like to know is that all this big family that we've got here, is there any way I can tell whether it's like one big family or we've got two sides of the family? Like, I want to know if there's any way I'm planning is trying to like start a fight or something, like between the two sides, or are they like too unified? Can I perceive that or not?
You could definitely roll either you could roll insight to use what you currently know and try to decipher what it means, or perception to gain new knowledge.
Try perception.
All right. right, perception to gain more knowledge about the area around you.
Okie dokie. Rolled a 16, and I got a 12, so that's a 28.
Oh, wow. Using a huge combination of factors, the size and different varying body types of these creatures, how they treat one another in terms of hierarchy as they munch away on that poor, helpless pile of food, the way in which they all seem to respect Paul as some sort of major patriarchal figure, you can deem that this is definitely one unified family. However, you do know that the gator woman from before did explain that they are not the kind of family to be involved in any kind of incestuous relations.
Right.
So that means there's another side to this family that isn't here yet.
So we've only got half the number of crocodiles at the moment.
You've got the crocodile half. While you're considering this, you can also hear something from outside. A strange whizzing and chanting sound. Coming from outside, Mark.
All right, should I look out the window and try to see what it is?
You look out the window, and like Lucien, you can see a massive lights and sound coming towards the house from the woods.
Oh,
It's fucked up, man.
Meanwhile,
would it be weird if I went to the toilet as well? Would that just be too weird?
the old man seated at the table with you looks at you and goes, "We have 2 bathrooms."
All right, thanks.
So you're excusing yourself as well? You're so
No,
painfully
no.
polite to these people who were trying to eat you earlier.
I know. All right, I guess there's not much you can do at this point.
Meanwhile, outside with Lucien, are you still rolling to try and see what's going on?
14 on seeing what's going on over there.
With a 14, you can make out some shapes, that's for damn sure, of people moving towards the house, and they appear to be much smaller than the crocodilian/gator people who are inside. They also appear to be holding different types of staffs and channeling devices and are blasting magic off into the woods as they travel. Eventually, when they move closer in sight, what you see appears to be large humanoid snapping turtles.
Well, I'm going to then proceed to head into the outhouse.
You open up the outhouse. It's disgusting.
I am going to piss in the outhouse.
You piss in the outhouse. You are surrounded by flies, but you do this.
Finish up and head back inside.
You head back inside. The stank did not follow you. Congratulations.
Sweet.
You get back inside, finding that everyone was eating, is now seated around looking all fat and lazy.
If my seat's open, I'm going to take that.
Your seat's open, you're going to have to squeeze past it. Get past them. Fat lady. And you get back in your seat. When you do this, you realize something. Your feet feel weird.
Look down.
You look down, and there appears to be a pig under your feet.
Stop picking.
You hear one of the gator people go, "Jebediah, get out from underneath there!" And then one of the gator guys looks up, the one you punched in the nose, goes, "What? Not you, Jeb. You're just Jeb. That's Jebediah. But my name's Jebediah. Uncle Ruck, you can't just go around naming your pets after me. I'll do what I want, boy. You sit your head down. You don't respect the hierarchy in this family." Jeb looks defeated and sits down next to his cousin, his giant cousin, who is still inexplicably not as giant as Paul. The only way I can describe these people.
We're still just not nearly as swole as Paul.
While everyone is discussing what's going on, you two have a moment to discuss between yourselves what you intend to do.
So we have some, turtles joining us.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Lucien. I'm not exactly sure what we should do right now.
As tempting as it was to try and run when I got to the outhouse, I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, thank you for not doing that. Do you think we're better off trying to escape, or
Probably the idea would probably be try to escape either during some type of stupid wedding ceremony, or when the other family comes here.
While you are discussing this, Mitchell, you notice that one of the kids has crawled up on the back headrest of you guys' chair and is listening to you guys' conversation.
How you doing, little guy?
He looks at you and goes, "You gonna be in trouble?"
Yeah, probably.
Unless you can somehow stop this kid from getting away.
I'm so scared of doing anything because this is such a perilous situation.
The kid is poised, ready to scamper off. Looks like
Should we
he's
grab him? Should one of us grab him? Lucian, I give Lucian a look. Should we grab him?
Sure, what the fuck are we gonna do? He actually does look like he is standing up, getting ready to do that, holding his pudgy little arms up to his mouth.
All right, kid, what do you want?
The kid stops and goes, "Oh, you want to make a deal?"
What do you want?
As he sits down in between you guys, he says, "Marbles."
Marbles.
I want marbles. My brother stole them, and I want better ones than what he stole from me.
You know where any marbles are?
No.
Let me check my bag here. Sunrod, fucking.
Mark.
Maybe. Yeah.
You, while Lucien is trying to deal with a small child, you notice that the dog from earlier is asleep in the middle of the room, but it seems to be trying to signal you with its eyes.
Head over to the dog.
You get up out of the seat, go over to the dog. And when you reach the dog, since you are a hinyokai and an animal spirit, you can somewhat sense what this dog is trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
He appears to, of course, be warning you that you are in great danger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no shit.
The dog says, "Oh, man, don't give me any lip. I'm just trying to help you out. Listen, man, you here in knee-deep in shit," says the dog.
Yeah. What should we do, Mr. Dog?
Well, let me tell you right now that the Tub clan here, they're neighborly enough, I suppose. They take care of me on account of I chase down rats for them. But they got a bad tendency overreacting to certain things, certain kinds of insults that they don't like. Basically, anytime that they think you got a standing deal, don't go back on it. Or at least not in a way that they can tell. Their only response to being offended is eating people. But now, this other clan of folks, what's coming here now, they are a bit more, how can I put this? Zealot-ish. They ain't near as neighborly as the Tubs. And they're going to want you to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole just to be able to keep your skin attached to your personage.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
But I'm assuming you ain't here for that sort of thing, because you're an adventuring type. You smell like adventure. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that it's the Snapjaw clan what has a hold of Paul's prized possession, and it's the only reason he tolerates them at all.
Right.
And
That is
oh, yeah, you go ahead.
interesting.
That's what I was looking for when I was doing that inside joke. I was like, what here is the most prized possession of this stupid piece of shit around me?
And as you have been told this, the door flings open, and an icy cold wind fills the room, sending a shudder through all of the Tub clan. In walks an ancient, wrinkly-looking snapping turtle man, holding a shaman stick in his left hand, and in his right, a gator skull covered in runes. After standing there for a moment, surveying the Tub clan, the snapping turtle steps to the right, allowing in what appears to be a human woman. And she is beautiful.
Just roll a dice to determine how beautiful she would be.
Yes, and she got an 18. She is gorgeous. I'm talking long, smooth black hair, porcelain skin, straight green lipstick. That's a little weird, but an absolutely stunning example of human beauty. She looks around and says in a tone that seems to almost echo with 1,000 years of wisdom, "Who among you swine has claimed to be my husband?"
That's definitely the dog.
Was it the duck? Are you sure it was the dog?
I'm gonna look at this kid here and I'm saying, what's gold worth to you?
He was like, "What?
What's gold worth to you?
What's that?"
This. I'm gonna pull out a gold bar.
He looks at it. Wait, you pull out a gold bar?
Yeah.
He goes,
I still have 5 of them.
he immediately reaches for it.
You're gonna be quiet, aren't you?
He looks around and then closes his own mouth.
That's what I thought.
You give it to him, and immediately starts chewing on it.
Have like
All right, Mark, what are you going to do? The whole room is pretty much dead silent.
Raise Lucian's arm.
great.
You raise Lucian's arm for him.
See, you remember this? I can't trust even my party member.
The woman seems to glide across the floor toward Lucien, looks at him and says, and then looks over at Paw and says, "This is not a part of our agreement, lizard." Paw immediately stands up, walking towards her, looks as if he's about to tell her off, but then the turtle creature next to her holds his staff over the crocodile skull, making Paw be silent. She tells Paw, "Your blood and mine must join. One of your family members, or preferably you, if you would let go of your archaic sense of loyalty." Paw clenches his fist, his leathery knuckles cracking, and says, "Don't go back on my promises. Not for nothing. Not for you." He then grabs a picture off the wall and shows it to her, and you guys can see that it's a woman. And next to a very large bear of a man that you assume is Paw in his human form. It's like, "Dead or not, that's my wife. And ain't nobody gonna replace her." As he puts the picture back on the wall. The woman in the green lipstick turns around and starts heading towards the door. Says, "You waste my time by coming here. Your hunts will be fruitless for weeks." As she leaves the hut, the whole family gets an air of defeat as the turtle creature falls behind her and slams the door shut on the way out.
Oh, no, come on, darling. You can't be like that.
Paw looks at the two of you. and makes like he's going to reach for you, Mitchell. Are you guys going to try any quick thinking or offer something to try and avoid the fate of being eaten by these crocodile monsters?
What does she have?
The whole family, still very silent and scared looking, shuffle around until they all look over at Pa, who tells you, "Ain't none of your business, stranger."
Well, what's it to you if we go try and get it back?
The family tub begins mumbling one another. Finally, the old man sitting next to you, Mitchell, stands up in his seat and says, "If I ain't never seen anything else that's threatened this family, it's been pride. Always been pride. Pride what led us in this swamp. Pride thinking that we could live forever is what led us to this predicament now." He snaps his back a little as he makes himself stand upright and looks at Pa and says, "Son, I let you take the helm of this family a long, long time ago. And I'm telling you now that if you want to do what's best for it, it's time to give up your pride." And then the old man sits back down. Pa then looks at you two of you and says, "We need your help."
Now we can work something out.
Paul explains to you that the crocodile skull in the possession of that turtle creature is the object that gives him and the rest of his family their powerful animalistic forms.
Crocodile skull, animal powers.
It also grants them immortality,
Immortality,
as long as the skull remains intact.
long as skull remains intact.
Every tooth inside the skull represents the life of one of his family members.
Every tooth equals the life of a family member.
When they came here to the swamp to try and, seek shelter from the rest of society in order to live out the rest of their eternal lives,
Don't like society.
they eventually came across this clan of similar people to them, people who were shared kinship with nature, but instead of the form of the alligator or crocodile, they chose the snapping turtle, and they are far more versed in magic than he or his clan are.
Southern snapping turtle, possibly evil clan. Continue.
In the dead of night, they captured the artifact skull from him and have held it hostage ever since.
Held hostage.
The matron of their clan, who you saw when she came in,
Hot bitch.
which was Ellie Mae Ball,
Ellie Mae Ball.
wants to marry Pa because he has the most powerful source of the crocodile's magic, thinking that their offspring would be so powerful that she might be able to start a new race of animal spirit people here in the swamp.
Because Pa has super jizz.
Pa, however, cannot do so
Cannot do.
because even if his wife is dead, his family traditions don't allow him to remarry, and he won't go back on his word.
And won't go back on his word. Key flaw of family. Pride.
He offered her to marry one of, his relatives, which she somewhat accepted if they were worthy. Unfortunately, she has not found any of his progeny, up to par.
Tried 20 times and they don't have super jizz.
In order for his family to be free, he needs that skull.
Needs skull. So, alright. That's the backstory out of the way.
What can you tell me about their living arrangement situations? Is it like a Evil Death Fortress or something? What am I going into?
They live in a pit in the center of the swamp,
Pit, center, swamp.
surrounded by evil eels that live in the mud.
Evil eels in mud.
9-foot leeches that swing from the trees.
9-foot leeches in trees.
And of course, the hunter. And the whole family goes, "Oh, it's the hunter."
The hunter shushes whole family. All right, so this hunter, tell me about him.
And one of the kids pipes up and says, "He's 20 feet tall," and everyone shuts him up. Nobody's ever seen the hunter. What lived to tell about it? Another one of them pipes up and says, He snatched up one of our relatives like he was a little rabbit, took him off into the sky."
We know nothing about hunter, assumed giant eagle.
The old man pipes in, "There's nowhere to hide from him."
Can't hide.
And Cookie pipes up again and says, and he eat everything that he killed.
He everything kill. So assume
We
giant
know it
eagle.
because he leaves the corpse of whoever he killed on our porch.
What a dick.
What, he leaves the carp after it's been eaten?
Well, mostly eaten. Usually a little bit eaten, like a part of it. He ain't like us. We clean our plate because we're civilized.
Okay, so
He says as he motions to the perfectly pristine floor that they just ate off of.
I mean, yeah, he's got a point.
Got a point. It's fucking clean.
Clean as shit. We clean up plate around here, goddammit.
Anyway, so we've got evil pit, crazy leeches, eels, the hunter, which would do magic. What's with the punching girls lately?
He had no problem with it, so I'm just non-gender biased when it comes to the enemies that I put in front of him.
So what direction is this pit from here?
We actually don't know.
Gotta find the pit.
The swamp changes shape around us as we try to find it, especially if we're trying to find it. And it gets worse as night gets closer, they say, as they look outside and see that the sun is setting.
Evil witch girl controlling entire swamp layout. Check.
You have any thoughts on this, Mark?
Not really. I just didn't realize that Lucien was such a fastidious note taker.
Using a notepad that, at this point, I would assume has been soaked, re-soaked, dried out, and soaked again in swamp juice.
Yep. Well, if that's about as much of the information we can get.
Pardon me. One of them pipes up and says, "None of us have ever been able to find the police without, well, of course, ending up dead."
Sounds about right. To be fair, like, I don't think they're expecting any of us.
They look at each other and go, "Well, I suppose that's true." Yeah.
So we have at least element of surprise if we don't fuck it up.
I'm watching what Mitchell's really writing down. The piece of paper in front of him is covered in scribbles. Like, there's no letters. There's no words. He's just been drawing random shapes.
See, like, I'm trying to make it loud enough so it could be on the right thing.
Wonderful. With that, you two have accepted the quest. Mm-hmm. They thank you for your bravery and immediately put you outside. Slam! Lock.
Just one lock? This place sounds like it should be like 57, cartoon style.
It's populated by 9-foot-plus gator people, Mitchell.
I don't know, man.
I don't think they give a shit about their security that much. Congratulations, you two. You are now back on your own in the swamp with a new quest, but you're on your own in the swamp again.
Yeah. And then they never saw us again.
What?
Well, I mean, yeah, this is a good chance. Like, fuck this place.
Isn't it, though?
I will leave you two to play with one another until you tell me what you are doing.
Well, I'm gonna start walking, at least from what my perception of earshot is, away from this fucking place. Even if I gotta swim through the water again, I don't give a shit anymore.
You head into the water and begin swimming for the shore at a casual pace. As you do so, you do notice that, oh my god, what the fuck. To your right, you can see a very large barracuda watching you guys in the water. It, however, does not attack you.
Oh, cool.
Mark, with your levels of perception, you can see that that barracuda is wearing a collar and is leashed to the underside of the house.
I'll say, there's no way you're not attached to them in some way. Keep swimming till we get to the shore.
You have made it to the shore. And now that you are at the shore, you can actually tell that even at night, this place is very bright because the moonlight filters through the leaves, which illuminate it even more, giving the swamp a dark room red glow.
Pretty place, pretty place. So, go back to that shack we found, if we can find it, and discuss plans, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
You can indeed find the shack again.
All right, so we find the shack, and we're heading to the shack. Is there anything in here?
As you go into the shack, you can find the ruins of a straw bed, a large unlocked chest, a currently dead wood-burning stove. There is a rug in the center of the room laying on the floor.
Open the chest.
You open the
Look under the rug.
Oh. Well, Mitchell, you open the chest, and what you find inside is a collection of dusty animal bones and an ancient-looking rusty mirror, a hand mirror of some kind.
Wipe that mirror off.
You wipe the mirror off. It is very nice underneath the grime. A silver mirror.
Man, ain't that pretty.
There is a fish design in the bottom of the mirror.
Fish design, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep this mirror.
You keep the mirror. Mark, you pull the rug up, and you immediately find a trap door underneath it.
No way.
So, Mark, you know how I said we were gonna go get that thing, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm saying bail.
Oh! You try to bail on every single problem you come. You know what? I'm not going to say. I'm the dungeon master. It's not my place. Mark, you tell him what a quitter and a coward he is. No, I'm done.
Yeah, so bail, yeah.
See, it's not sounding like such a bad idea, isn't it?
No, it sounds quite inviting. It sounds quite attractive. Does bail. The only problem is with this swamp, I'm not sure like which direction to bail to. It seems that no matter where we try to go, we're just going to end up where we don't want to be.
There's a good chance of that. You are certainly right. Let's open this trap door since we're here. I mean, might as fucking well.
You open the trap door, which we will have to explore next time on Misadventurous.